Welcome back to Super Sunday Doubleheader IPL 2022. We had two games today. Morning game was Delhi Capitals versus Kolkata Knight Riders, which Delhi Capitals comfortably won by 44 runs, which was more or less like a one-sided game. But what a way to wrap the Sunday night. Lucknow Super Giants versus Rajasthan Royals. Match went until the last over, which is always we wanted, and there is lots to talk about. So always we will start with the second game first, with a disappointed Sanjay Dubey and Vaishak and me being neutral today. Sanjay, talk us through how do you feel about Lucknow Super Giants' performance today?
Yeah, I think when Stoinis was batting so well and they required 14 of the last four deliveries, and then Stoinis having three dot balls, I think that's sort of disappointing for a player of his caliber. But you have to give credit to the fast bowler Sain as well. He did a phenomenal job. But yeah, overall, I think Lucknow lost the game when they had those two crucial drop catches, and then they leaked 65, 70 odd runs, 70 plus runs in the last 5 overs. I think, yeah, quite disappointing, but at least the net run rate doesn't get hit. But this was a game they should have won.
And Vishak, there is lots to talk about Rajasthan Royals batting. We will come to Ravichandran Ashwin, who is the talk of the town. But start wise, they had a disastrous start. Josh Butler, 118 strike rate. Devdutt Padikkal, 100 strike rate. Sanju Samson, 108 strike rate. Is there a problem on the top order of Rajasthan Royals?
I think when the pitches are flat, right, that is one of the best top orders you can have. But because all these players, mainly Samson, Butler, and all, they like to hit through the line and hit big shots. When the pitch doesn't favor them or it is on the slower side, those big shots don't come up, and that's where they struggle. Because the pitch, Wankhede is not the same pitch as how it was around last year or something, where Wankhede was a six hitting ground. Now it is kind of favoring the bowlers now, and it has become a little slower. So I don't think that it is actually favoring the Rajasthan Royals batters that much. So that is the reason I think if they get good batting pitches, I think that's a very good top four or five to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And at a point, Rajasthan Royals were looking at probably getting 110, 120. But thanks to Shimran Hitmyer. But a big thanks to Ravichandran Ashwin. So I
Kunal Pandya.
Krunal Pandya. Double big thanks to Krunal Pandya for dropping Shimran Hetmyer. I think he was 18 or 19. But let's spend some time on Ravichandran Ashwin's presence of mind. One, is it against the spirit of cricket or is it just great presence of mind and this should be the norm? I want to get both of your thoughts, Sanjay, starting with you.
I think, first of all, if I'm Riyan Parag, I'm wondering what I'm doing in the team because half of the time, Josh Butler scoring runs, top order scoring runs, I'm not getting a chance. This was a perfect opportunity to get some runs. He bats in the top four for his state side. Why is Ashwin batting ahead of him? I have absolutely no clue. If they thought he's going to stabilize, he would have done the same thing coming in after Riyan Parag if required. So I think it was a bad call. But yeah, from that point on, where he had stabilized, retiring out is something which we probably going to see more and more. But my problem is that Riyan Parag is a better bat than him in any situation. I personally feel because they've backed him, even not picking someone like a Jimmy Neesham ahead of him. So what's the point of having Ashwin in? But yeah, good call nevertheless, I guess.
And Vishak, a lot of uh, people who cricketing fraternity are hailing Ravichandran Ashwin for the move. So I understand that it's a brand new thing and nobody would have dared to thought or he's a bookish guy, so he did it. But what about the spirit of the game? Is that okay to just say they retired out and have somebody else come in better than them?
Firstly, I have never seen this anywhere other than some warm up games where people get like they retire out
We do
just
that
to
in
give
gully cricket quite a lot.
chances.
Yeah.
So
So
that is where I have seen this, and this is the first time I think this is happening in a competitive game, leave alone IPL.
this has happened in a test match. I think thrice, Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka. I think Jayavardene, Sangakkar, everyone got hundreds and just retired out basically, not retired, but so I think this has happened and at international level. But this is the first for an IPL.
So maybe yeah, but it's a rare occasion to see. Usually this happens in the warm up games usually. So yeah, but I don't think it was only Ashwin's decision. It could have been the decision from the dressing room as well. And sending him ahead of Parag, I don't think he batted. I think he batted pretty well. He scored 28 of 22 maybe. At that point of time, that is what was cricket. Someone staying with Hetmeyer rather than going bang bang. So I think he did his job there, whatever he wanted to do. And then I think definitely this is a call not alone from Ashwin, and I think from the dressing room, Sangakkara or someone would have definitely given a message. So I think it could be a collective decision, but yeah, going forward we could see more of this. Like if some batsman is struggling and if batter is struggling, and you have some batters in the sitting in the dugout, this could happen more often.
Okay. Interesting. So let's spend some time on bowling for Lucknow Super Giants, Sanjay. I think Ravi Bishnu, Avesh Khan, and Krishnappa Gautam. Surprise package is Krishnappa Gautam for you. 2 for 30 in 4 overs. How did you find the bowling outside of the fielding lapses you guys have had?
Very good bowling. I was sort of disappointed with the. I mean, especially Holder for an experienced bowler like him to leak so many runs. What 50 odd runs in 4 overs? Although he picked up 2 wickets for 160. Team total 50 odd runs in 4 was not good enough from an international guy. Gautam bowled very well. Obviously, that drop catch didn't help him. Went for a couple of sixes in the end. Bishnoi, I thought bowled not as well as he does normally. He went wicketless, but I think he did leak runs after there were decent wickets at the top of the order. So I think Rajasthan shouldn't have got more than 140, 150 max. But those last few overs from Holder and who was it? I think Chamira bowled reasonably well, but Holder
Yeah.
leaking those runs.
Avesh
Yeah.
Khan.
Avesh Khan also reasonably well, I would say. But yeah, I think those 10, 15 runs in the end did sort of make a difference from a 140 odd score to 165, 166. So yeah, the momentum, as they say, was with the team, and then Trent Bolt coming in and bowling that absolute beauty. This has happened the second time. To Rahul at Wankhede, first ball against Gujarat, absolute beauty from Shami, and this one was an absolute beauty from Trent Bolt. So yeah, that was pretty much the
Rahul,
game.
in the post-match presentation, also mentioned he didn't even see the ball. It seems so. That's how good it was. He was saying that had I seen the ball, I would have at least put some bat on it. So credit to Trent Bolt for that terrific delivery, and that took coming around the wicket and bowling such a ball. I think even Trent Bolt wouldn't have expected. He thought the ball is not swinging, so let me go around the wicket and get his edge. So that was what might have been the plan, and the ball suddenly swinging in, like it was completely unexpected.
I think that is the kind of start which teams will look for. And like Syed Hussain is talking about, defending the total thrice probably is, deeming towards like a sunrisers kind of a bowling attack. Even if you are in that 140, 160 tricky total range, Rajasthan Royals are looking to defend. Especially this will be tasting even more sweeter. Like Sanjay mentioned, batting till 8 and 9 of Lucknow Super Giants, and they still could defend 160, which is fantastic. And the word on Dushwant Chamira, he had 4 overs, none for 22. Outstanding bowling with the pace. Well, let's talk about the batting order of Lucknow Super Giants. Ayush Badani failed, unfortunately, but Krunal Pandya, I mean, he did his job, even though he came above Marcus Stoinis. If I can argue, 15 balls, 22 runs. He did his part, isn't it? So are we still debating Stoinis coming on top of the order?
See, I personally was fine Stoinis not coming maybe when the ball was swinging too much. He's just come off the bench effectively. But when Jason Holder's gone, or even after Deepak Huda, I mean, you're getting Krunal Pandya and Badoni ahead of him. Badoni maybe, yeah, in form, but Krunal Pandya, it's not that it was right and left combination. So I think, yeah, at least at number 6, I would have expected because Stoinis can, he's not a slogger. He's not going to come in and blast 20 or 4 balls or something. He will take his time, but once he's set in, he can just stand there and go for those big shots. So it's a bit of a surprising, and this is probably the last time he'll bat at number 8 for any team, any franchise team. So irrespective of whether Rahul thinks he should come in after 15 overs, the match situation has to supersede whatever else they've got in mind. So it was a poor decision, I think, in hindsight, and he remained not out. So what if he had another couple of overs? He would have easily got maybe 20 runs. You're on mute.
Good, good.
Ajay Kemenu looks like his office WhatsApp chat question he posted here, which he probably should rethink one more time. So, how about that debutant's last over, Kuldeep Sen, and then Yuzi Chahal was slightly expensive, but 4 wickets. He's continuing to. He's a purple cap holder. Josh Butler is, I think, is also an orange cap holder still, and Rajasthan Royals on top of the table. So what are the chances going from Rajasthan Royals here? And also word on Kuldeep Sen, the debutant bowler, Vishal.
First about Kuldeep Singh, I think he held his nerve. He held his nerve, bowled a good over. Especially, I think the third ball was the difference because that was in the slot, and had instead of trying for a ramp, had he played the same shot of as the last ball, it would have been a six. He tried a ramp and it just hit his leg. So I think that ball was the difference. And then the next ball he bowled was pretty good, bowling again outside the off stump, so that and Stoinis had to reach. So I think that's the third ball of the over. Where if Stoinis would had stayed there and hit it for a six, then the match would have turned. So I think other than that, I think he held his nerve. He bowled a good over. And the last two balls, I wouldn't look too much into it because he was just trying to land the ball and not bowl a no ball or a wide, so that the team wins. So that 4 and 6, I will not be looking further into it. But the first four balls, I think he did a good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Chahal although went for runs. Suman, I think it was brave of Sanju Samson to bowl him post 15, though. I think he bowled 2 overs post 15. He got that crucial wicket of Quinton de Kock, which ideally he should have hit for six. But yeah, I mean, once you are in the last few overs, you will go for runs, but at least he's picked up wickets, purple cap holder. Can't do much wrong, and previous teams obviously would have wanted him to be retained. But yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, Syed points out that Stoinis opens in BBL. When he was with Delhi Capitals, he opened quite a number of games as well. I think it's just the team combinations, and Lucknow Super Giants have too much batting on top of the order, unfortunately. But they have to find a way to better use Stoinis, frankly. So that became the Rajasthan Royals versus Lucknow Super Giants game, which was quite close. Royals eventually won by 3 runs and on top of the table right now. What about the first game, which is Delhi Capitals versus Kolkata Knight Riders? Delhi Capitals batted first, scored 215 for 5. Guess who's back in form, which is David Warner Butterboma. And also, we had Prithvi Shaw, who gave rollicking start. And then Kolkata Knight Riders, 171 all out. Guess who was the man of the match? The guy who was warming their bench for all the season, got his revenge back, Kuldeep Yadav. How good a performance was Kuldeep's this morning, Vishak?
I think until Shreyas Iyer was batting in the middle, right, the game seemed to be in balance. So that wicket which he took, I think, actually changed the game. And then they asked for Russell in the end. I think he didn't have enough support. But Kuldeep Yadav, I think, was pretty impressive. He took 4 wickets, and he did not give away much runs as well. But I still believe he is not the old Kuldeep Yadav who used to flight the ball and entice batsmen to hit. He's still bowling little flatter. I think he still lacks the confidence to flight the ball because when he used to flight previously, he was a proper genuine Chinaman bowler who used to flight the ball and entice the batsman into mistakes. Now is and get a lot of bolds and LBW. Now he's depending on more of batsmen trying to hit him out and getting wickets. So I think I would not say he's back to his best, but definitely taking wickets. But this would work in T20s. But if you want to get back into the ODIs and test matches or something, this is not the kind of bowling which we need from Kuldeep.
I have a slightly different opinion to that because I think the reason why KKR and a lot of the other teams didn't have confidence in him in T20s, he was flighting the ball too much maybe, and a lot of these miss hits, 55, 60-meter boundaries, you'd go for six. So I think that's probably the change he's made in his game, which is allowing him to take more wickets. But yeah, Vishak's got fair point that if he has to come back to the Test team and ODI team, potentially help India get wickets in the middle over, then he has to go back to that old Kuldeep. But yeah, KKR wasted a couple of years of his, to be honest. They weren't giving him enough chances. They were reliant on Varun Chakravarti, and he did well for them. But time will tell whether Varun Chakravarti would surpass what Kuldeep can do in his career. So yeah, great for Kuldeep. Had it not been for, again coming back to the point, great for Kuldeep and a lot of the other people. Had it not been for 10 teams in the IPL, we would have never known whether the Indian talent is good enough to showcase in the 10-team tournament.
Absolutely. And Delhi Capitals batting order top 6 finally clicked, except for Lalit Yadav. Everybody were 150 plus strike rate. And it is a pretty scary top six. Prithvi Shaw, Warner, Pant, Lalit Yadav, Rahman Powell, and Akshar Patel, Vishak. So do you think they are starting to peak from their performance point of view, Delhi Capitals, or any holes still in their batting order?
I think today it was a they batting they worked out their batting pretty well, and Prithvi Shaw mainly the way he started attacking Umesh Yadav. I think that was important because Umesh Yadav is someone who has been taking early wickets throughout in this IPL so far in the 4 games he has played, 3 or 4 games he has played, and today he started attacking. First ball he hit him for four, so he started attacking him. He hit around 10 or 12 runs in his first over itself, and that kind of set up the innings completely. And Warner could actually kind of ease into his innings, and then play kind of his natural game, try to stay till the end and anchor the innings. So I think Prithvi Shaw actually set it up for them. But again, I think the top three today, it all depends on them. If they fail, Delhi will look bad. If the top three, those three chota packets actually fire, Delhi would look like a formidable unit.
And I think Delhi lost their way in a bit, and they have to thank Akshar Patel and Shardul Thakur for pulling it back because they were about 12 overs, 150, close to 150. They should have got 250 on an average day. Most teams are getting 100 in the last 8 overs. So they lost their way, not sending Sarfraz Khan. He must be sitting there wondering why is he in the team for Lalit Yadav coming ahead of him. Then a couple of other guys before. Rahman Powell didn't get going, but yeah, Shardul Thakur and Akshar Patel having that partnership, what 50 odd runs, that gave them that 15-20 run cushion, and then it was too much for the guys. But yeah, Delhi do sort of rely heavily on their openers to do well. They have that Pant really not necessarily in the best of touches, and yeah, it depends upon on the day whether they get a good start for the finishers to make an impact.
This question is Vishak special. Will Venki Iyer make it to India team?
If with Hardik Pandya fit and bowling, and also the way he is performing, it's time to say thank you for your contributions, Venki Iyer, and get Hardik Pandya back in.
And my problem is not necessarily with Venki Iyer. I think the biggest problem India will face is Surya Kumar is probably the only one from the middle order perspective who bats in the middle order. Everyone wants to bat top three, and we already if we are looking live beyond Rohit and Virat, maybe then it's a different story. But with Virat, Rohit, and Rahul potentially in top three, whom are you going to play? Venki Iyer opening suddenly coming in at number 5. I don't think it's good enough. So we have to pick people not just based on the weightage of runs they're scoring, because if you're opening or batting at number 3, 4, you will get more runs. You have to pick people for the positions they would bat in their IPL teams, because that's probably the benchmark we're going to take for the next World Cup. So yeah, Delhi should have got 250 plus. Venki Iyer, I can't see him making the team because he's not necessarily getting enough bowling opportunities and not bowling well whenever he's getting it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And looking at the batting of Kolkata Knight Riders, before we go to batting of Kolkata Knight Riders, word on another IPL legend, Sunil Narayan, who quietly continues to contribute. If you look at his bowling contributions, 4 for 21, unbelievable, and nobody speaks about him. But how good a valuable player he is for KKR, Vishal.
I think even his action is questionable, and he's not bowling some of his mystery balls. He still remains to be a threat. He turns the ball both ways, and people are struggling to read him. So, and in such games when yeah, when T20 games, definitely his bowling is a plus because you have to score runs of every bowler and try to. And if you play if a bowler goes for around 4 overs, 20 runs, and if you're looking for a total of 200, you have to literally hit 16 overs, 180. So I think that is the kind of impact that Sunil Narayan gives, and he does. And even if he does not pick wickets like in the previous games or something, he contains the runs and put pressure, and other bowlers takes wickets because of that. Maybe someone like a Varun Chakravarti benefits out of it. So that's the kind of impact that Sunil Narayan actually gives to KKR. But even though he's not the same threat as what he was 5 years ago, is not as that much, but still he is a threat for me.
Andy Ganti makes a great point, Sanjay. Shardul Thakur versus Hardik, Vijay Shankar, Shivam Dubey, Venki Iyer, Deepak Chahar. So is he living up to the expectations, the Lord Thakur?
Absolutely, and for T20s, I'd even add Jadeja, to be honest, from a all-rounding perspective. I mean, Vijay Shankar, Shivam Dube, although I must say didn't hasn't got too many bowling opportunities. Vijay Shankar you can pretty much write off. He's struggling to get into the local IPL team, so forget international cricket for a while. But yeah, if Hardik is bowling and 140 and whatnot, then I think India's all-rounder slot is fulfilled, and all the likes of Venki Iyer and even Jadeja, for that matter, would struggle to make it to the 11. But yeah, if Hardik is injured, then it'll be for the others. But Shardul Thakur, every time he gets an opportunity, even his bowling is really good, I think. And but that one shot he hit on the offside, it was unbelievable. That inside out shot, a six he hit. But yeah, Shardul Thakur always delivers. He will always make it to the Indian team in all formats, I think.
Yeah, and Ravi
I
Kumar
think
also
Ravi makes
said,
a valid point here because Thakur, as see, his primary job is bowling. I don't think he fits into the team as a T20 bowler. So, how much ever runs he scores, but I disagree with Cummins. Cummins has done the job for Australia. Maybe he hasn't performed here in the IPL, but Thakur definitely doesn't deserve to be in the T20 squad for India because he doesn't fit to be a bowler. Actually.
To
yeah,
be honest, the way everyone's going for runs, you can pick up anyone apart from Bumrah for death bowling. I can't see Harshal Patel and Bumrah are the only ones who are probably going to walk into that side. Otherwise, all the places are open. If Shardul Thakur can have a decent run for the rest of the IPL season, he did pick up 2 wickets today, scored
You
some
can think
runs.
of adding Shami along with these two and Hardik Pandya bowling. I think that makes a lethal attack.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Shami, I'm 50-50, but yeah, new ball definitely yes.
There are a couple of options KKR can try. They can promote Narayan back on opening, or Sam Billings can get more balls compared to Ajinkya Rahane. Thoughts there?
And one more option I think they have is Finch
Yep.
and drop and get Sheldon Jackson to keep because I think Billings is not doing much either. So have Finch at the top of the order and have get Sheldon Jackson in and maybe get him to keep. That is one of the options for them. But Rahane definitely is not fitting in the bill there. Maybe because even Venki Iyer is not firing as how he used to do last year. Now the onus comes on Rahane to give the impetus, and he is not the kind of a batsman who gives that impetus. He likes to. He is someone who is ideal when this chase is around 140 to 155 kind of, and for the 200 plus chase, he is not someone who can give you the impetus. So maybe
Yes.
they have to try out something, get Finch up top because Finch, if he gets going, I think he can be pretty dangerous.
Or you could get Mohammad Nabi in, get Sheldon Jackson to open because I think he opens for his state side. He's not going to do worse than what Rahane is doing potentially, and then it lengthens their batting lineup. Got bowling options, so they got a few options they can try. Or as I think someone mentioned, you can go back to Sunil Narayan, but then you can't have Sunil Narayan and Venki playing the same way maybe. So that's the only reason why they are refraining from that. So yeah, they have got options. I can't see Rahane making it to the next squad.
Yeah, Andy asks, saying from an overseas point of view, Tim Southee is another bowler who started KKR well, but will he make a playing 11, Vishak, or who would he replace? Sam Billings, I would be thinking it'll be a harsh call because Billings is contributing whatever he could.
Yeah, actually, I last game I expected the same thing. I expected both Team Saudi and Pat Cummins to play against Mumbai Indians, and I thought Sam Billings will be the one who would be dropped. But unfortunately, it is they went for only Pat Cummins because Tim Saudi in the two games he bowled, he picked up wickets. He picked up around 5 to 6 wickets together in 2 matches. So I think he bowled pretty well. It was pretty harsh to drop him because KKR generally, if you see when they had Lockie Ferguson, they always used to play two overseas fast bowlers. I don't know why they are deviating from that strategy now, and especially when Tim Saudi is actually firing and doing pretty well for them. I think they can get that is one of the options. I think Andy mentioned a valid point there. They can get him and they can strengthen their bowling there and try to get some Indian batsmen like Rinku Singh or something in the middle order and see how they can fit in. And Sunil Narayan open.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, there is another contest going on between RCBians and CSKians while we talk about the game. Expecting Tuesday's Kaveri Derby, apparently. So We will come to it, but most importantly, let's look at the points table. Rajasthan Royals, KKR, Gujarat Titans, and RCB are in top four right now, with Lucknow Supergiant, Delhi Capital after today's win have moved up. Punjab Kings and Sunrisers with a win each or two wins. And bottom of the table, Mumbai Indians and Chennai Super Kings. Vishak, how often have we seen this kind of a points table, Vishak?
Yeah, I have at least seen Mumbai at the bottom, never CSK at the bottom after the first four matches, kind of. So it is because we Mumbai usually are slow starters. We have seen that, but CSK, this is the first time I think they have lost four games in a row. Forget it. It's not even two games in a row they have lost in any IPL, I guess. So it's something odd for them. But both the teams, I think they lack options in the bowling. The bowling looks weak. So yeah, that is where and Mumbai both their auction strategies were questionable for me. Both the teams, the way they into the auctions. Mumbai went for one player. They compromised their entire like other players kind of just to go for Jofra Archer. They kept missing out on other players. And Chennai Super Kings, I think once they lost Deepak Chahar, I think they didn't have any depth in their bowling. So it's difficult for both the teams, but yeah, as I mentioned yesterday, not all is lost, but it will be pretty difficult for both the teams.
Plus, I think for the sake of the tournament, this is a long tournament. MI and CSK have to start winning. Otherwise, this will be eight-team tournament, and if one team runs away, it could pretty much end up being only handful of games have any relevance into who the top four would be. So MI and CSK have to start winning. If CSK win another couple of lose another couple of games, I personally think Dhoni might hang up his boots. He might not look to the end of the season for CSK to be at the bottom of the table. So I think for the sake of the IPL, I'm hoping that CSK and Mumbai start winning some games.
And Sanjay, staying with you, Andy asks, what makes Gujarat so successful when they have weakest team on the paper?
I've got 20 eggs in my fridge. I can put all that across all our faces because, to be honest, I thought that Gujarat would be the team at the bottom of the table, considering the team they had. They have been lucky in a sense that Shubman Gill is not the Shubman Gill of the last 2 3 years of KKR. Hardik Pandya, he looks a different man altogether when he starts to bowl. Um, then the bowling lineup has kicked, and to be honest, two games Rahul Tewatia has won them on his own. So a lot of the questionable buys they had over the auction table, they're all delivering. So even Shami is bowling well. Rashid Khan, obviously, Hardik Pandya is using him slightly differently. He's in the mix and picking up wickets. And the wins they've had, I think it's only they're going to be unstoppable from a top four perspective. Is what I feel, unless they have injury concerns and whatnot. So. Yeah, surprising, but it is what it is. Hats off to them.
Absolutely. Cool. So that was today's double header Sunday. So going into tomorrow, which is Monday, we have a game coming up, Sunrisers Hyderabad versus Gujarat Titans. So I can tell you what I'm expecting from Sunrisers, and we're talking about Gujarat Titans who seem to be in red hot form. Right? Sunrisers definitely will take a lot of confidence out of the last game when they got 2 points. And uh, about 70% of the game and playing 11 is sorted. They have few tweaks to make. Probably Umran Malik, like Adi mentioned, will make way for Sudeep Tyagi. If that happens, I think bowling will solidify and Umran will also get some time to think. Batting order wise, knowing Tom Moody and crew, I would be highly surprised, Vishak, if they will tinker with the batting order, or do you expect Kane Williamson to drop down with Tripathi going up?
Ideally, I would prefer Tripathi opening and Kane Williamson batting at three, because Kane Williamson kind of gives that solidity in the middle order, and it would just help them because you need someone who gives that firepower and Kane Williamson I think is batting too slow in the for an opener kind of. So I think if he wants to, yeah, at number three, he cannot afford to take that much time as he's doing at the opening slot, and at least he plays spin pretty well as well in the middle order. So I think at number three, he would be a better option. And if you see, Abhishek Sharma is also back to form. So him and Rahul Tripathi at the top definitely would make a better opening pair. And even if you see for KKR, and before that, I think Pune Super Giants team. I think Rahul Tripathi was actually opening. So I think that makes more sense to get your best players up top, like the players who give you the impetus up top. So and then the middle order can take care of itself. So I think Rahul Tripathi should open. Other than that, I don't see any changes other than what you mentioned. Karthik Tyagi maybe should come in for Umran Malik. Umran Malik just seems to come in and run in and bowl fast. It's just like bowling fast without brains, according to me. So that's what he's just doing. So maybe he needs to be given a break and see if he can improve. He can get him back later.
But I'm sort of disappointed with Abdul Samad being dropped. He was the retained guy, only 2 games. You're giving Abhishek Sharma, that extra game, which he, repaid the faith. I was quite disappointed. You're getting a guy called Shashank Singh. He might be very good, but if you retain someone, at least give him a good run so that one way or the other whether he's cut out for this level or not. Dropping him at this point didn't make sense. I hope they get him back because at least now they are, with some points on the board. And I would also expect Shreyas Gopal to be back in potentially because they're lacking a wrist spinner, and DY Patil is a relatively bigger ground compared to Wankhede and Brabant. So hopefully Shreyas Gopal gets a game because most of the teams have a wrist spinner, and we've seen what Kuldeep and Chahal did today. So yeah, SRH. I would pick SRH to go past Gujarat tomorrow.
Big call if SRH is winning versus Gujarat Titans, who are unbeatable.
I
Unbeaten.
would personally want SRS to win just for the points table sake. So it's like we don't want one team to just be running away. It'll make them unbeaten for 4 matches. So SRH actually winning this would actually make it a little more interesting, kind of like it would be like no team is unbeaten then. So I think for just for the points table sake, would want SRS to win.
Ishak, I'll gift you a Sunrisers jersey next time I come.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great stuff. Thanks for making time, Sanjay and Vishak, and for folks who were engaged, Andy, Ajay, Ravi, Syed. Really appreciate you guys providing us commentary and engagement. Drop us that like button whenever you get a chance before you sign off, and also put in that comments if you wanted us to cover anything else. We'll be back tomorrow again for Sunrises and Gujarat Titan games. And also, while you are on our channel, you can also check out the fantasy Dream 11 tips as well, which Vishak provides. I am out of top 10 in the Waadaplaya fantasy league, which is quite disappointing. But yeah, I'll be back. I'll definitely be back. And Vishak, I don't know where you stand, but Syed definitely is in top 5. Shivam is in top 5. Sanjay, have you created the team this year?
I did create, but unfortunately, it's not available in the UK, and to do it the other way is just too much time consuming. So I've given up, to be honest. But I've got all the transfers left, so I can give it to someone if I want to.
Excellent, excellent. Vishak, hoping to see you on the fantasy game again. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you back again on yet another show. And we will start to look to rename our concussion sub series to Retired Herd Ashwin series from next time on. Thanks for
Retired out,
watching.
that is.
Get it out.
Retired out. Take care. Bye.